Look at that nice big TV.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My chair just needs to
You don't need this? Not yet.
Roll call, please.
Excuse me. Paul Cuny.
Present.
Good, it's nice to see you. Al Davis.
Here.
Charlie Keel.
Here.
Robert Laraway.
Here.
Brent Peavy.
Here.
Carol Shannon. Here. Dave Torres.
Here. We have a quorum.
So excited.
The agenda is in front of you. Anything to add to the agenda? If not, agenda will stand unanimous consent. And now we have the consent agenda. Anything to be taken out and discussed? Okay, Chair Layer, motion.
To accept the consent agenda.
Motion made by Keel to accept the consent agenda. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by, who did that?
I did.
Oh, Mr. Laraway. I didn't know who did that.
Exactly.
Okay, I wanted to take this moment to publicly acknowledge the passing of Dave McGrath, who was a valued member of the council team. Is on the planning commission, he was on the zoning commission, he did a lot of things. And he exemplified what a representative republic is about, because he would argue for his positions, and then if his positions didn't hold forth and they voted opposite of him, he didn't cause a stir. He accepted that, worked with what the decision of the majority was, which it was all about. He will be missed.
I agree.
You definitely will.
I just go like this.
Yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
All right, Mr. Manager.
I echo your comments about Mr. McGrath. There will be a service for him at their home at 1197 Queensway on Saturday, September the 24th at 1 p.m. Dawn has asked that we share that information with anyone who would like to attend. As you may have seen several signs up, we are currently repaving El Camino Grande this week. The project is on schedule. Today we milled off about 1.25 inches in places, 1.5 inches in others, 2 inches in other places. Tomorrow we will have Strausser Construction in around 10 or 11 is when they think they're going to arrive. They're going to spray down the fiber mat, and that job really should only take a couple hours at most. So it'll be, ready for those who need to drive home on that street by the end of the day tomorrow.
Is
And
that
then
just a spray?
permission spray.
Really?
Yeah. And then Thursday, we're all set to pave. And weather permitting, I think they might be able to get it done in one day. I would hope so. If not, Friday morning will be the end of it. But I sent a note to our pavement marking people that pretty much anytime after Friday afternoon, they would be good. And when they come up, could you look at the airport and give us a price on that? So that's where that project is at. Project went very smooth so far. We did the culvert work Monday, and that was more about, the finished project you're gonna get when you put the street down. Because when we put that culvert in originally, we only went one bucket with the trench. So it sunk over time. Well, now we went out, 8-10 feet, packed it back down, put new material in, and paved over it again today. So hopefully you're not gonna get that little speed bump there by Bill Geron's old house.
Speed dip.
Speed dip. Speed dip. For the most part, people have been really good about following the detour. We haven't had a whole lot of issues. A couple people yesterday turned off the cold water and drove, to the site we're working, and there's a dump truck in this lane and an excavator in this lane. It's like, it's kind of self-explanatory that you need to turn around. But no, project's going well and looking forward to it being done. We'll be back in after that with Natalie to do shoulder seating, that type of stuff. The planning commission meeting for this month and hopefully next month is scheduled actually for next Tuesday. They're gonna see the second amended kind of draft after the public hearing they had at their last meeting on the zoning ordinance update. Working on all those changes right now. There's not a ton, but I'm also planning tomorrow, when I have that draft done, to send a little letter to anyone who came to the last meeting during public comment that spoke about it, to let them know that, you know, the meeting materials are online and here are the changes from draft 1 to draft 2 if you want to look at it yourself, you know, offering feedback from the meeting, whatever. Code enforcement, our case against 1021 Cordova. Judge Nagle was unavailable, so she had to reschedule. That is September, it's a Monday, September 12th, I would say. Yeah, it's Monday, so the 12th. Yep. We have a couple others on the agenda tonight to talk about as well. Thursday, as you know, we're having an Alice training here. Everyone's invited. Can I get a head count of who's coming Thursday night?
I wish I was. I cannot. No.
What time is that at?
6:30. Luke Sawyer from Shepherd PD will be here. Present on Alice, which is, you know, the new active shooter training protocol that, you know, everybody goes through. Not new, so
What time is it?
6:30 to 8:30.
Oh, I'm Thursday.
If there are materials, because you know I'm in education, would you grab them?
If he has some, I know he's got a PowerPoint.
Okay.
You know, we send the invitation out to our planning commission. We've got several coming from there, ZBA, and I also threw an invitation out to the LA Freeway Board.
Sure.
You know, if anyone from Sherman Township Board wants to come on over.
I have a 7 o'clock meeting
Oh.
at the park, but it should only be about 15-20 minutes, so I'll try to make it back. So
We are close to finalizing some of the bond proposal material finally, the FAQ. It's one that I signed off on earlier this week. And then we need to also look at dates for doing community meetings on my schedule tonight, because I'd like to put that out in the newsletter and have it available for information at this weekend's LFUA meeting. I'm interested to know how you think we should handle that. Should we try to stick to one particular day of the week? Should we bounce it around? You know, I'm thinking offering, you know, at least 4 or 5 type meetings.
What do you see as a format? Can we talk about it
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, format wise, I would think we would do a little brief presentation. You know, and then, you know, questions, discussion, you know, have coffee, cookies, donuts, whatever for people. You know, get their feedback, answer their questions, that type of stuff.
So are you thinking we need to have our neighbors have them? Or,
I would prefer to have them here.
okay, good.
Yeah.
All right.
And we, you know, we picked 4, 5, 6 dates.
Yeah.
If you could maybe gently nudge some of your neighbors, hey, you know, this is a good opportunity. You know, come on out.
Do we want to do them all in the evening or do you want to do one in the morning?
Well, that's what I was wondering, you know, I think there may be some value to doing like a morning one and then an evening one, you know. I would probably more favor evening. I think that's easier for folk, but you know, I'd look to start Labor Day week.
It would be, I think, to me, it'd be smart to have it on different days. So because of people's schedules, I mean, none of us, well, 2 people on this council work, so the other 5 can go just about any time.
You guys are usually the harder to schedule around, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it seems like it'd be better for people to be able to get to them. Schedule.
Oh, yeah.
Different days than
Different
that,
time.
because if you have it on Monday, this guy's got a meeting every Monday. it's
Yeah.
not gonna happen.
Well, you start getting into September.
Yep.
And anybody that's got kids,
Right.
they got activity. School, doing stuff.
Yeah, like we've already got cheer 4 nights a week.
Yeah.
And games on Saturdays.
So would these be in the evening, did you say?
You know, I do agree that we should probably do at least 1 or 2 9 or 11 or 10, something like that, you know,
In the morning.
in the morning, and then, you know,
Maybe 8.
Nope, I won't be there.
Oh, shoot, not Jeff and I can't make 8.
7:30 better?
Nice, Paul.
you know, the key is just stay up, that's the
Yeah.
key.
Oh, that's it. Oh, is that what
You
you
have
used
your
to
fire
do?
alarm go off a little early. and
Well, there
you
you
know.
go. You're gonna arrange for that for
Yeah.
all of
Yeah.
us?
Is this something that on Saturday that we should mention?
I would hope so, that's why I would hope to get the
Okay.
schedule done, you know, tonight, tomorrow, at the latest through email.
What if we put out also that, hey, if you'd like to have a get together, call one of the offices and we'll see if we can arrange something.
Happy.
You know, that must be just as much forward
Yeah,
as
that's a
we
good
can.
idea.
And
Good idea.
So you're trying to pick days now?
Throw
We're
out
talking
some
about September?
ideas.
We're talking September, you said?
And then we all would want to attend? Is that what you're
You
saying?
can't all
many-
attend.
No,
yeah,
because of, okay,
And
that's
That's
what
why I
I'm
was
asking.
thinking that if you
so,
could each pick, you know, 1 or 2 that you
Got
could
it.
attend.
all right,
Um,
That would be good.
You know, and absentee ballots are going to be available, I think by September 26th, so,
we want to get our meetings well before that.
Yeah.
yeah, I would really hope to look at the first like 3 weeks, the week of the 5th, 12th, and 19th.
Are we gonna have any meetings later on, like maybe one at the beginning of November or the end of October, just in case? Kind of like
Yeah, you could-
refresher?
Oh, yeah, because I'm not gonna vote early.
No, but I mean, give it, yeah.
Yeah.
People, okay, there was a meeting
Yeah,
and they forgot all about it. or
Right.
something.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm
it
not saying
wasn't,
we have a bunch, but
yeah.
Right.
it wasn't
Good
urgent
point.
on their list until it gets near.
You know, the week of the 24th is the last week of October. That would be that week's open for the most part for me. The week prior to that, I'm gone the whole week, except for Monday afternoon and evening.
we have to get a new manager. Jeez, man. October 24th.
Until you find out why he's gonna be gone, don't say that.
Oh,
Oh, good point.
he isn't volunteering though.
All right. So what do you have, Tim? That's just the week of
October,
October?
I say, you pick the dates.
Yeah,
and
you pick the date.
Your
Yeah, and then
your
we'll pick
schedule's
which
harder to
one.
get
Well, I'll
around
go
than
make a
ours.
copy for you guys in this.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
that's a
so
good
smart.
idea.
And then maybe we
pick
can
the
revisit
dates.
it after the meeting.
There'll be a
Yeah, time to
couple of
look
us.
at it.
I think we should just do it now.
By the way, I have to call a point of order on myself. The clerk correctly told me that we didn't vote on the consent agenda, even though we had a motion and a second, and I forgot, I failed to call for the vote.
Hmm.
And I said, no, we did that. And she goes, I don't think so. And now I'm thinking
I'm
about
trying to
it.
do my job,
I
Jack.
caught it too. but
And,
it's-
I didn't do that. So
Okay, shall we now?
yes, let's go back and suspend the meeting for a moment and go back to the consent agenda. We have a motion made.
I made it.
Keel, seconded by Laraway to accept the consent agenda. Is there any objection? Seeing none, oh no, we have to roll call, don't, no.
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say no. Okay, motion carried.
Okay,
And we just voted on the consent agenda that I forgot, because I was
he was excited
thinking, well, I was thinking
about
about,
TVs.
no, I was thinking about Dave.
Oh, I know, yes. We shouldn't say that.
So,
Yeah, well,
so now we're back on schedule.
Yeah, could,
why don't we just look at this after the meeting then? We have more time to discuss. when-
Yeah,
all right,
let's not log this part down.
okay.
Okay. Is that the only thing you had?
That's
then?
all I got.
Last you have? Okay. Mr. Gray, you have a report from
Yeah,
Sherman?
just real quick, our meeting last night, we had a couple different things. We, the Sherman Township Board did accept the county's tax rate request and setting the Headley rollback to 0.9833 for the township. .9833 for fire and .7374 for the library will be the tax rate for the next year. We have decided on probably the top three things, the three things we're gonna spend our ARPA funds on. One is gonna be the path around Sherman Township Park over that way. That's part of what my meeting I'll be involved in on Thursday night, so I probably won't be here for the Alice meeting. So we're gonna walk it, try to figure out where we want the path and where we want to do solar lights, that kind of stuff too. Second thing we're gonna do is get some new signage for the Sherman Township Hall. Right now, there is no sign out by the road at all. So we're gonna get a sign, something like what we have out here. And then we're gonna put a sign on the building as well. We're gonna use ARPA money for that. And then the last thing we're gonna use it for is finishing up or helping the NSFD, Nottawa Sherman Fire Department, get the rest of their 800 megahertz radios purchased. So we're gonna put the 36,000 in for that. That will help them get all that stuff done. So those are the three things that we're gonna spend our ARPA money on. And then one of the quick things, just I talked to you guys before about the lawsuits that were being done with the tax tribunal stuff. Dollar General is continuing to pursue their stuff to do it. They are doing it to basically every Dollar General here in Isabella County. So it's not just this one here. Depending on how far this goes and stuff like that, right now, Broomfield, Deerfield, and Sherman Township are looking to join together as a class action because it'll be cheaper for us if we have to pursue this and fight it if we decide to go down that road. So,
Yeah.
And then the golf course here also had done their tax tribunal stuff, but they missed their date to have their stuff that's officially served and filed. So my guess at this point, it's probably a dead issue at that point. I don't know that they're gonna pursue it any farther. So that's all I got.
Thank you.
One question. Was there any comments about parking at the last voting at Sherman Township?
During the election day?
Yeah,
Not necessarily parking because they've got the field to the north of it that they do open up and let people park in there, or they'll have a lot of the election workers park in that field to try to keep the parking lot open. But we're also cycling now. We have put in a sidewalk on the north end of the building and using that exit door for people to go out. And because we have the two precincts now, when they come in the front door, you have to go to Sherman Township one way or the precinct the other way. Do your circle voting, ballot machine, and then out the other door. So the inside traffic is more of an issue and problem than it is with parking on the outside. But did you have people complaining?
yes.
Okay.
The
To the
day
extent
came and there was no parking. There was cars everywhere and they
Okay.
were the first two people to vote. And
In the
so it had
morning?
to, yes,
Wow. Okay.
so they had to be, the workers parked close and the voters.
Maybe they moved their cars later on that day then, 'cause I was told that they removed all the inspectors that were working there were supposed to be out in the grassy
Okay.
area, but I'll bring it up at the next meeting to make sure that they know that there was some parking issues.
More information? Just that we're gonna have
Annual meeting is Saturday.
annual meeting this Saturday, right? What time?
9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
I was at the LIPOA meeting. I think the biggest conversation they had that night was, again, the same thing, getting information out at the meeting for the annual meeting regarding the project for the roads and dredging and all that stuff too. And they were also requesting any kind of handouts that we can give out that have accurate information on it. So people aren't hearing half of a story or something like that too. And I joined in them with them and saying, yes, I would really like to see some kind of handout we can give out at the annual meeting. The more information we can get out there accurately, the better.
All right. No public hearings. First opportunity for public comment. Okay.
Okay, yeah, Kim Fox, 6613 West Little Turtle Way, Waveman. On these fiber optics, I got somewhat of a little bit of a complaint. I'm not sure if anybody knows what I can do. They pulled those orange tubes up. They've been there over a year. And they keep going in with, I'm trying to sell these properties, but they keep going in with heavy equipment. It's not a major, and I've called Homeworks, about 5 times, got it promised it would be corrected. And it's actually just gotten worse. They bring some more equipment in and it just keeps getting worse. If anybody has any suggestions other than calling homeworks. I appreciate it. Thank you.
I'll email them tonight or tomorrow morning.
Okay, thank you.
You know,
I'll talk to you at the meeting too. So I had the same issue and I'll tell you how I solved it.
all right, existing business, BSNA software.
Your first item of existing business is the review and action on the proposed software agreement for BSNA that was discussed at last month's meeting. This would be for the building department, community development suite. Right now, we use BSNA for our taxes, as does every other unit in Isabella County. We are switching to BSNA for our accounting, which will be hopefully this fall after we do our audit. Audit field work is scheduled for I got it. It's on my schedule, October 3rd and 4th. And then, this would be an additional suite. The value on our end is being able to have one point of entry for all of our data. So right now, code enforcement is off in a separate cloud-based program with a different vendor. This would bring everything under one umbrella and would also add permitting to our file tree and our record keeping ability. So you go in, you could find pretty much everything you want from one portal. Like, here's all the permits, here's, taxes, any violations, one-stop shop.
It's a good idea. Now, as somebody who's not very technologically knowledgeable, does it get backed up every day in case something happens?
It's cloud-based.
Okay. I wanted to know.
Take it, you and Jeff both agree to it, you both want to have it.
Yeah, I think Jeff is kind of fed up with our accounting software.
Yeah,
I just had to finish the billing too for that day. It's like,
Yeah, big bill.
okay. So we've already approved this, haven't we?
You gotta vote to approve the proposal.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that.
Motion made by CUNY to approve the BSNA software change, seconded by Keel. Is there further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Charlie Keel,
Yes.
Robert Laraway,
Yes.
Brent Peavy,
Yes.
Carol Shannon, yes. Paul Cuny,
Yes.
Al Davis,
Yes.
Dave Torres.
Yes, pass 7-0. Okay, cold water drainage study.
Your second item of existing business is what you asked me to work on in June and kind of gave you a little heads up. Here's what it's going to look like last month, but this is a proposal from Rowe to do drainage study work along the Coldwater Road corridor.
And this goes cold water all the way, it's gonna go all the way to baseline?
Yeah, that's, as we've looked at that, that's really the only option we have to move water, is to
Right.
move it down to the lagoon property.
And their final is what, 12 grand?
12-4.
12.4. Good for you.
I understand this is just for them to look into, but
Just the stuff.
do we have any idea what, if we went forward with the project, a ballpark price of what it would cost to build?
No, because I don't know what they're gonna recommend. I mean, can you move water down that way with open ditches? Do you have to do culverts? One of the issues I know that we're gonna have to figure out is how are we gonna move water from one side of baseline to the other? Because there's not a cross culvert under baseline at any point. So do we move it down towards Mr. Peavy's property and then bring it over? Do we try and shoot it over by the restaurant? All those are things that we gotta look at in terms of what the hydrology is, what the flow is.
And both those baseline ditches do slant towards,
There's really not much of a ditch on the north side of the road, but there's not in front of Mr. Peavy's
well,
property.
yeah.
The south side.
So basically what happens when it overflows into the south side anyway.
Yeah, because once you get past the dog kennel, it's pretty swampy through there.
Right.
But we did go back and ditch that a few years ago, and that's helped considerably in the spring for not be muddy.
It's helped mostly just the road area though.
Yeah.
correct? You know, just through the swamp area, through the wooded area, that's always broke up.
Yeah,
So we don't know what they're going to suggest if we go down the west side of Coldwater or the east side. We don't know that. And to go over, because we don't have a way to get the water over to the east side of Coldwater.
we do. There
Well,
are,
right here, but
there are 3 culverts, one on each side of baseline and then one in front of our building, one just north of our building, I should
Right.
say.
okay,
There's 3 culverts coming over.
but are they big enough? That
The one in
was
front of our
issue.
building certainly is.
Okay.
That's at least I think it's a 36 or that was a big culvert. The other ones are precast concrete, I'm thinking the 12s, maybe 15s at best.
So, yeah, we do need to study then, because we didn't even know.
I know we need to study. It kind of scares me because you
Yep.
approved 12-4, and you almost have to go forward on it. You almost
Right.
want to go forward on it.
Right.
I just thought if it's an outrageous amount, are we doing it? Not that I don't want to do the study, I just look at the ballpark.
Brent, does your property flood?
Not that I know
No, okay,
of,
You got the high ground.
but.
yeah, that's good then.
Because literally where your property is, it starts to drop back from yours back out towards that old gravel pit south of the runway.
But basically, I think this council has to look at from the road standpoint, basically. We do it somewhat on the properties, but
Sure.
it's more for
Yeah.
what the roads are and that, so.
Now, where does the county
No,
come in
I
on
figured
that?
it.
It's crossing a county road.
Certainly, if we end up needing to do any culvert work through there, they're gonna have to get involved at that point in time.
Are they willing? You think they'd be willing to cut across?
I think they'll be willing as long as they don't have to pay for
Yeah. And there's a big expense just cutting that thing.
Almost seems like we just go down.
You'd think they'd help
East
you
side.
though.
Well,
you know,
yeah,
because it's
it
got a
helps
flood.
them.
Yeah,
it. Well, the other problem that you have through there is the ditch that runs through our property is not a drain of record.
Right.
If that was an official county drain, it would be a different scenario to look at in terms of how you could direct water.
Just north of the building.
Just north of the building, yeah, there was
nice.
behind it, to the north and then behind and then out towards Maury's farm. Then out to the chip.
Yeah, I remember, they just had that.
It's worked,
Early
it's worked relatively
Yeah.
well, it honestly has.
Can you not add drains of record? Like you can't make that a drain of record?
I talked to the former drain commissioner about it and the price that he said it would cost to do that was substantial. It's not something they just do on paper. They have to completely re-ditch it.
Which is really interesting. They're not gonna say it doesn't work, but they're not gonna
Yeah.
prove it.
So we'd be happy to create a drainage district and set up a specialist.
No, thanks. Not if we can help. Okay. Well, what's the pleasure?
What kind of details, like, I've never seen a feasibility study, I guess. I
Mhm.
mean, 10-4 just seems like a lot of money, like the survey part. Once you know all the elevations and stuff, I mean, you know which way the water's gonna flow. It just seems like a lot of hours of work. Just don't know what it includes.
What did the study for El Camino cost?
That engineering and everything was 14 is what we paid for that. Some of that was design, some of that was obviously on site during construction.
Well, this doesn't include design. This is just a study.
We spent, I think the last real feasibility study we did was on the sewer stuff. Years ago. That was.
I need clarification, please. Says here, we propose a fixed fee budget of 12.4 for design, bidding, and construction of this project as outlined in the scope of work above. So does that mean design?
Shouldn't be. We're just
Okay,
doing a study.
Well, because it says
And it says construction too.
And that says clarifications to our scope says 5, design documents are not included.
Yeah.
So we,
So it's confusing, I think.
Yeah, so
Yeah. They're kind of contradicting, so.
so are they going to just, I guess, what's the study gonna look like, I guess, is what we have to know.
well, I could happily get you the study we did for the sewer system, so you can see what that would look like.
But we paid for the design there.
No, we eventually would have. The preliminary one has a rough design of what the project would entail.
Okay. So that what they mean
Yeah.
is they're gonna sketch out,
Yeah.
this is approximately what it is, but these aren't the
They're not the plan
actual
plans.
Measured.
measurements
Yeah.
and inches and materials.
Like, you know, the.
I got you.
Stuff we did on the sewer, it's got, you know, like this is gonna be a 12-inch main to
Yeah.
an 8-inch, and, you know,
Yeah.
here's a lift station
Okay.
with the actual plan and where you're putting it in the road, that's.
They're gonna have a drawing on the napkin. And after that, we can pay it up.
I'm happy to send it back if you want more clarification.
I would just think that, you know, if you get to the bid portion, like you call Mally's and say, you know, we have a water problem, you know, put together some kind of bid, they're gonna kind of do the same thing anyway, and come up with a plan to get rid of the water. Like it says they're gonna use the 4-foot contour lines on the GIS map. Like I can look at that too. You know, 10-4 to look at a website. That's a lot of money to something that we don't know if we can afford or not anyway.
What would happen if we asked Melody just to them look at it and say, just give us a ballpark of what you think, it would. We're not gonna hold you to it, but just give us a ballpark of what you think would run to do this work.
To do what, though?
Let
That's
them-
the
let them
question.
look- let
To do
them
what?
look- Let them come up with a thing. We'll pay them to do a study, but let them look at it. I bet you they come in a lot cheaper. It's not gonna be a professional thing, it's gonna be more, but then we know if,
I mean, they can shoot grade and find out, you know, how deep ditches have to be and which way it's gonna fall.
we seem to have a lot of confidence in them, and I just think that,
But can they calculate water volume?
that I don't know.
Yeah, but do you have to?
Yeah, that's the
Why?
whole point of this, otherwise it's gonna continue to flood.
I mean, any culvert's gonna be better than no culvert, you know, going across a whole lot of road. I think,
If it's undersized and you're allowing water to go through it, now you create a current situation where you encourage a washout. Or before, if it's just dammed over and just goes over the top, you're not likely to blow out the culvert.
Do you think we're potentially gonna put another culvert under the road?
You have to. But there's no way to get the water down to the lagoon property.
We're talking about cross baseline.
Yeah,
Cross baseline, absolutely, yeah.
no,
you're talking right down by like.
I'm saying across Coldwater.
No, I'm talking
He's talking baseline.
front of your property on baseline. We got, somehow that water's gotta get to one side of baseline. Ideally, it
Me
needs to be on
getting
the south
across
side of
the
baseline.
baseline isn't a hard problem. We can dig a hole in that damn thing.
Sure. Well, that's how far down you go too.
Oh, yeah, but I mean, that's pretty easy. Now going across Coldwater, if those two 15-inch to lose and that 36 aren't gonna take care of it, and we gotta do another one underneath,
That's
that,
expensive.
that's expensive. But I kind of along with Brent, I 10-4 to tell us that. That's- But they ain't working cheap either now.
Yeah. Do we have to do it now?
You guys asked for this.
I know. We're not mad at you yet.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah. I said, I'll have to go back and have it refined if you need it, or
Well, I can see that not everybody's comfortable.
Well, like you say, some clarifications, because one sentence says one thing, and the other sentence contradicts it.
Yeah, but I think they're gonna come back the way Tim says,
Right,
it's
I'm
still
sure.
gonna be 12-4.
Yeah.
It's just,
Yeah.
they're gonna clarify, yes, you're 100% right, we're not gonna give you this, you know. And to spend 12-4, you know, if the project's $100,000 to do, are we gonna do a $100,000 project? And I don't know, maybe you have to spend the 12.4 to even find that out. I don't know.
I think
I guess
that's,
I'm just asking.
that's the point Tim was
Yeah.
making is we gotta. If we spend the money, at least we'll know what the feasibility study says.
Yeah.
And if we can't do it, we can't do it this year or next year, but eventually. we'll
Can
at
we
least
put any
have
of
the
that
study.
money towards it? That we have, the funding we got,
ARPA?
that extra funding?
But
That makes me feel a little better if we could.
If we have extra money.
I was gonna say, is there any left that we haven't already
They're
assigned?
gonna know until.
Do we have any left over, Tim?
depends if you get dog park grant or not.
Oh, yeah.
And if we get the dog park, we won't have any left.
Not a whole lot, no, not, maybe 12.4, but not much
Maybe
more.
what?
Maybe the 12.4, but not a lot more.
Yeah, but maybe we could pay for the study out of that. Or a portion of it.
They're gonna know that until November.
Well, Tim needs some direction, because
Yes.
we're the ones that asked for this.
Yeah, let me send it back, we'll find out that.
Yeah. I guess, yeah. We're not comfortable with this. If I'm reading the room right, what do you think, Bob?
Agree, send it back.
We need,
What do
You, Al,
sending
same
back?
thing? Yeah, I think it's pretty much.
But you're just sending it back for them to clarify. And
Well-
I think we all know what they're gonna say. It means we're not gonna get it. It's the 12.4 I'm not comfortable with. It's not the clarification. The clarification, I think they're just gonna say, yes, you guys read it right. You know, it is 12.4.
Well, let's see what they do.
yeah, maybe they'll
Cost
make
us
it
anything, yes,
a
that.
deal.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're right, Charlie. You're right. That doesn't cost us a dime to throw it back and you make a decision.
Yeah, because I'm sure this is a small project for them.
Yeah,
Maybe way down the list.
yeah, you're right. You're right.
They'll go down to 11.9.
Should we want that?
Brent's gonna start an engineering
Charlie,
company
that's
in Brentwood.
11.9.
There you go.
No,
No,
that's just a ton of money, it seems like to.
I'm glad you said something.
I'm a cheapskate, so I mean, I might not be familiar with this. I know there's a need for it. We need to do something with the water, but
Let's see what happens,
all right.
because it ain't gonna get done between now and.
Okay, Tim, you get that?
Right.
What we want to do?
Most of it.
He's gonna make up the rest. It'll be fine.
Okay, new business. Resolution 2022-17.
Your first item under new business is a resolution that would update the incidental and administrative expense policy that the council adopted earlier this year to include section that addresses volunteer appreciation.
Everybody understand it?
I understand it. When we last talked about this, my recommendation was that we take the existing $50 and increase it to 100 because of the
Yeah,
way everything has gone up. And probably gonna continue to go up rather than come back and visit this again. But I see in this.
says 80, right?
Says
this is
80,
80.
Can we make it 100?
I would rather see it go back up to 100. We discussed that last time and nobody had a problem with 100. Unless something's changed, I'd like to see it go back to 100.
It's fine with me.
Me too.
Since I wasn't here, Bob, I don't know what would the 100 do? You mean for like meals and stuff like that, or?
Even flowers for a funeral, anything along those lines.
Okay,
You know, it was $50 and you're not gonna get anything for $50 anymore.
okay.
And rather than nickel and dime it and have to go back and raise it again. My recommendation was that we just go with 100 to start with. And we need a motion to change this to 100 then.
I agree with everybody.
Not if everybody agrees to it. Yeah, you can just.
Well, then I would make a motion that we accept the update with the stipulation that it'd be $100 rather than 80.
Okay. So motion made by Laraway to approve resolution 2022-17 incidental expenditure policy. Includes up to $100.
Yes.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Davis. Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Okay. Robert Laraway,
Yes.
Rem Peavy,
Yes.
Bill Shannon, yes. Paul Cuny,
Yes.
Al Davis,
Yes.
Charlie Keel,
Yes.
Dave Jorgensen.
Yes. Motion carries. Scrap tire recycling project. Mr. Wolf.
In the packet is a proposed contract from CM Rubber Technologies out of Pullman. They would be the ones that would bring in a trailer. Realistically, this Thursday, and drop it off over the weekend for people to bring tires over for us to take in and drop off. The Eagle program, has stipulation on it's $1,000 for the first 500 passenger tires and then $2 per passenger tire up to a $2,000 cap is what the grant covers.
Just passenger tires.
What's that?
Just passenger.
Just
tires.
passenger tires.
So motorcycles don't get it or tractor tires don't?
Tractor
get it?
tires are hard no.
Okay.
I
but
think a motorcycle tire probably would.
It's a no and the ORV tires are no.
Correct.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Retires, no.
They don't accept airplane or golf cart tires or rims. Simply tires.
Is it based on size then or use?
I don't know.
OTR tires.
OTR is off the road.
$95.
It's off the road. Tires.
Yeah.
Yes, it's passenger tire recycling program.
Right.
Doesn't include motor tires, earth movers, heavy equipment tires. They don't accept airplane tires, golf cart tires
Right.
on rims. We also do not accept tires with excessive dirt, parts or shreds, loose inner tubes, trash, metal, paper, glass, hoses, belt, plastics.
Is someone there to supervise?
So Jerry and I have to take volunteers.
But it's just gonna be all kinds of trash.
I know, otherwise it would cost us.
I mean, given the alternative where I could be Saturday morning, I'd happily take used tires.
Does that specify trailer tires?
No, I'm sure those would be, those passenger tires. Camper tires over passenger tires.
They take them with the rims on them too.
No rims.
Exit. Oh, okay.
Wonder how much they go back over what you accept to go.
I don't know, $95 a piece. I don't want to find out.
I don't think
Depends on how
I don't think
far
we're gonna get a
it's
ton. And I say it because we haven't had a good opportunity to promote this. I'd hoped to have this contract for you to approve last month and they didn't get it until I was on vacation. And contracts have to be approved by the council, so it's not like,
Has Jim seen any tires needing?
when we did our first sweep in April, May, we had 40 to 50 places with tires.
We might get them.
Yeah.
Get half, that's good.
Promoted on the website. and
And
everything.
yeah,
Okay, what do we want to do?
Would it be cheaper to promote the county tire recycle, a township recycle? Don't you guys have a recycle?
Normally do, we didn't do anything this year.
Nothing.
The
this-
county is,
I think Broomfield
Pick
does
up.
it.
one of them's gonna be hazardous waste, which I don't think includes the tires.
No.
But I
that-
think
Usually
there was
do that
another
at
one
the
too,
county
but-
fair, don't they?
Yeah.
Pardon?
Don't they usually do the tires at the county fair? The
Yeah,
county.
Yeah.
that,
mhm.
that and.
Frank Engel
hazardous
talked
waste.
about it twice already.
He
this
just
year.
was on the county thing today.
Okay.
But I didn't hear what he said. I think he said the 1st of October.
That's
And then like the 28th is hazardous waste.
right.
I
Yeah.
believe, but I could be wrong on the dates. And I'm not sure, is that a tire one or is that? paint?
The hazardous waste
Yeah,
one, I'm
hazardous
sure is,
waste.
the other one I think does, so. I'll watch
Well, listen, this is a grant anyway.
Yep.
So let's do it.
Here we go.
Do we need a motion?
Yep.
I'll make a motion. We accept the scrap tire recycling contract.
Motion made by Peavy to accept the scrap tire recycling contract,
Second.
seconded by Laraway. Further discussion? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Brent Peavy,
Yes.
Carol Shannon, yes. Paul Cuny,
Yes.
Al Davis.
Yes.
Robert Laraway.
Yes.
Charlie Keel,
Yes.
Dave Torres.
Yes. Motion carries. Queensway chip sealing engineering proposal.
Your second proposal in your packet tonight is from Rowe to do the design phase, for lack of a better terminology. Put together plans, materials, bid sheets to do a chip seal, hopefully a slurry seal on Queensway, Quessa, parts of Bundy. These are all streets that we have applied for a category B grant from MDOT. That information won't be released until September. Whether or not we get the grant or not, we still need to at least do a chip seal to get a top of Queensway sealed off. We get the grant, we can do the slurry seal, which adds a smoother driving surface on top of the chip seal. But this will get the ball rolling so that hopefully we can still get this done this fall.
So this 10,000 includes the chip seal?
It's 7,000 for design, 3,000 for construction. Like our proposal to do El Camino was, like 10 or 11 for design, and then like
Yeah.
4 for construction, because they're on site, they're checking
They're
load
doing it.
tickets, nuclear density testing.
Okay.
Would this type of thing work on Queensway or on Clubhouse?
If you don't mind having people hate you.
I really don't want
We could get away with the chip seal on Queensway because there's not a lot of residential housing. Chip seal is not an ideal for a suburban neighborhood setting.
But with this top coat on afterwards.
Yeah, but it's the process is the
Yeah.
problem. You're still doing the chip seal. And it's not that the road would be the problem, it's the process of doing it where you put a lot of gravel in people's yards or pea stone.
The Clubhouse is getting pretty bad.
Yes, it is.
Okay. Pretty straightforward. Is there a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Davis to accept the Queensway engineering proposal. Is there a second?
Yeah.
Seconded by Laraway.
They're busy tonight.
Discussion? Seeing none? Roll call?
Carol Shannon, yes. Paul Cuny,
Yes.
Al Davis,
Yes.
Charlie Keel.
Yeah.
Robert Laraway.
Yeah.
Brent Peavy,
Yes.
Dave Torres.
Yes, motion carries. Code enforcement, zoning enforcement.
We have 2 properties that I would request have the gentle arm of our attorney get involved with. The first is 1017 Dread. You've got the history of the property in the packet. What it boils down to is the property at one point had dwelling, the dwelling is no longer there, the shed that is there needs to be removed. The other property, 1064 El Camino Grande, it has a 95% completed house on it, never got a certificate of occupancy, and is currently in foreclosure from their mortgage company. And I believe the property owner is in litigation with the builder. It's sat vacant and with no real finished exterior for the last 2 years.
There are some extenuating circumstances.
Right.
The property owner, has had a lengthy medical issues, and including his wife, and at the same time, the neighbors have had to look at that for quite a while.
It's a little bit like the case of that one house next to the house I built up there on El Camino. That was a modular and they delivered it and the company went out of business and it sat there in 2 halves. Remember that one? And it sat that way for 4 years.
I don't remember before my time.
Oh my gosh, it was
Is that the
horrible.
white one?
That's the one that just put the copper roof on?
Yeah.
Yeah. before, because the company, they dropped it off and were gone. Then her husband died. So it's the same kind of thing.
Yeah,
And I think she finally sold it, or she finally, I think she got remarried, then they finished it. But I mean, that was, talk about a money pit. So I kind of understand that.
But you kind of think the guy would hire somebody to at least cut the grass, so it's, so the neighbors don't have to look at stuff like that. And I don't know how, I mean, it's got to be more than just that, but.
Well, he's old, he doesn't have any money.
What's the deal with the shed? Can the shed be, is that something we're gonna have to take off there, or?
I'm gonna
Yes, this
guess
one
it's the property owner's most valuable asset. at this point.
I mean, yeah, you'd think.
Porta potty's not worth anything, huh?
Poor boy's gone. That picture's from last
I
fall.
mean, the
What about the
shed,
camper?
Campers move over to his neighbor's lot.
That's where he lives.
There's
Other neighbors.
you'd think somebody would take that shed and move it, get it off, it doesn't look that bad. I don't know if it's
From here, it looks like
structurally
it'd be a
strong.
good thing to have it
Live
on.
across from it.
It's not structurally any good.
Yeah, you don't live across from it.
Oh, no.
Well, no, but I mean,
I
to get
do.
rid of it, somebody, yeah, I'll get rid of it if you give it to me.
That's
We've had multiple complaints this summer that the property owner is spending his weekends inside the shed and running a generator for power purposes.
Got a kitty litter box in the corner.
Probably not so nice once you open the door. What's that other thing on the property? over here?
That's on the neighbor's property.
Oh, that's the neighbors, okay.
That's a camper.
No,
Because
You done this one?
the second one here to the right.
Oh, to the right,
Somebody else's
that's
house.
Colleen Alstrom's house.
Oh, okay. So they're right on top of it. Huh.
Yeah, and that's the other thing, I mean, if this was, 3 acres by itself, I think you could be a little bit more graceful, but
Yeah.
there are two houses right on top of this.
Oh,
It's actually waterfront.
It is waterfront.
actually, if you have
Barely.
whatever the guy owes on it, you could probably get it from the bank.
It's 180,000. According to the newspaper.
There you go. You might want to do that too.
Yeah,
Is he
it's
in it?
the 25th, I
No,
think,
you're
of
not
August
looking
is when it goes, right?
It's almost, it's about 90% finished, isn't it?
It's pretty close to done.
We had a question about like, if we vote on this, about conflict of interest. I mean, I don't, gentleman owns Madrid Lane, works for me, so I don't know if I can vote on it or not, or if I should.
Bob Worth lives across the street from it. I mean,
I don't know how that goes.
That's a good question.
I don't know if I can just sit a vote out.
Yeah, you can abstain for that, I think.
I think that's appropriate.
I would just rather not go either way.
Yeah,
Can't
it's hard to find
truck
truck
yet.
drivers.
Might be on cold nights.
So what do we have to do here?
For
Well, we gotta go to court,
A
right?
motion to involve legal counsel to, address
each
these
one?
two violations. You can
Do it together?
get together, do it separate, but,
On the new build, what's the owner say? He's trying to walk away from it?
oh, no,
No,
they've been trying to finish building it for 3 years.
He
Trying to
broke
get
his
the
femur
builder to
last
finish
year,
it.
6 months ago, he broke his femur.
The owner did?
So he's elderly. So the recovery hasn't been good. But, by the same token, it's too bad.
Same token, let's see, the original permit for that house was pulled in 2019.
Well, everybody got a respite for COVID.
Right.
That's why he
That's
had
the
extra
key.
time.
But the bank's closing on the 25th. By the time we get something to the attorneys, it could be resolved, couldn't it? Yeah, or not?
No,
No?
the notice of foreclosure was just posted in July. So there's, I believe, a 6-month redemption period.
Oh, okay.
Right here.
Okay.
6
I
months.
believe. I may be mistaken.
I guess let's get legal involved. We can always stop
Yeah.
what we decide to do, but you gotta do something, because Bob doesn't wanna look at it. And
Yep.
I don't blame him, I wouldn't wanna look at it.
2017, so August 3rd, 2017 was the original permit to build that
Yeah.
house.
Oh, that's a
You're
long
on
time.
5 years.
5 years, yeah, it's gotta be done.
You know, and I think we've been very.
Okay.
Bob was speaking for a couple of the neighbors.
Oh, I understand, I'm not,
Oh, no.
I was just
It's
looking at all sides, and I guess if it
Perfectly
was me,
legitimate.
I'd want it done.
Yep. Okay. So you don't need a motion for that, do you? We can extend that.
How about, I can say that I was given the direction to proceed without objection.
Yes.
Yeah, sounds good to me.
There you go. Everybody comfortable with that? Okay, seeing that? Make it so. All right, resolution 2218.
Your last item of new business is some proposed changes and update to the wall of honor policy that was adopted 2012, I want to say, and looking at who we have up on the wall right now, there hasn't been anyone or any group inducted since 2014. That was a good idea after talking with our village president to update the policy and see if this is a time that other people might be worthy of being put up on the wall.
Okay, help me, who can be put up there now?
It's in the policy.
Oh,
Right now, it's 5 years of significant service.
Okay,
Not doing it anymore.
Post change that to 8. The other ones are all the same. Acts of heroism or bravery has inspired others to be involved in the community. Made a positive impact on the quality of life enjoyed by the residents of the community. Create new opportunities through facilities or program, or a significant impact on the continuation of programs or services offered within the village. So it can be association members, like one of those groups up there is the first LIPOA board. The Clevey Committee, which I think was pretty much an offset of the LIPOA, is also up there. In the Charter Committee, and then the 3 individuals are Ken Torgerson, Bill Dunham, and Dan Grisdale.
well, let me ask you this, and I'm not. Under the current rules right now, could they be on that?
McGrath?
Yeah.
Yes.
'Cause
You
I
just-
was
what'd
gonna
you
talk
just say?
about having,
Dave, is that what you
yeah,
said?
have Dave on there, but I didn't know if he could or couldn't. But
Well,
it
actually,
might be-
it's interesting because it did come up. That's one of the things that made us think about revisiting this.
Mhm.
And we don't necessarily want to do it posthumously, but we don't want, if they're not involved anymore. For example, Arnie is not involved anymore, but he's been involved since 1985 or something with the LIPOA and everything. Would be eligible. We don't want to necessarily wait until
Yeah,
somebody,
until they pass. I
because
understand.
that's how two of those first 3 guys got up there.
Yeah.
They had to die
Act
first?
Posthumously.
Yeah. Jeez. Okay. It's hard to be happy then.
So that's what prompted this.
Okay.
This change in these rules and stuff.
You think we want to bring up names now or bring them up?
I think we want to adapt this and then have some time to think about it.
The names have, yeah, I agree. I
Because
think it should be 2 different issues.
Well, there's
Tim and
a,
I sat and thought, and then all of a sudden, somebody'd come up, and then who would think about it, and then all of a sudden, somebody else. So it's not something you want to knee jerk, which is why Tim wanted to get us thinking about this. Good idea.
Okay, get it out there and then, maybe next month. Have different candidates you could consider, so think of people in the next 2 or 3 weeks and.
And that process is spelled out now. In here a little bit better, a little clearer than last time.
We can put it out on like Facebook too,
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be good to put that out because people might bring up a name that we
Yes,
didn't
absolutely,
really think about.
absolutely. Okay, so everybody comfortable with the changes? That's what we're here for. We're here this side.
excuse me.
I think changes are good, Tim. Spells everything out.
Need a motion. And resolution.
I'll make the motion.
Motion made by Davis to accept resolution 2218. Seconded by
I'll start from there.
Keel. Discussion. Seeing none, roll call please.
Paul Cuny,
Yes.
Al Davis,
Yes.
Charlie Keel,
Yes,
Robert Laraway,
Yes.
Brent Peavy,
Yes.
Carol Shannon, yes. Dave Torres.
Yes, motion carries. Okay, second opportunity for public comment.
I just have one thing, one of the other things that was talked about at the LIPA meeting. 2 months in a row now, we've had a couple of neighbors from Castle Road South who come in and complaining about the motorcycle side by sides, 4x4, stuff like that, that are ripping through the LIPA parks on pathways that were supposed to be for walking and golf carts only. But now they're getting so ripped up, so they're getting big mud holes and all kinds of stuff like that. So they are pursuing putting some signs up, possibly putting some cameras up, doing that kind of stuff. But one of the other suggestions I had made is that since we have sheriff patrol out here, I don't know if we have the ability to ask them possibly watch some of those areas, especially on the weekends if they're out here, to see if people out there using their 4x4s and doing that. I don't know if the sheriff patrol has any of their own 4x4s or side by sides or something like that, that they could also patrol on that stuff too. But since I know we have a contract with them, if it's something that the council could ask Tim to talk to the sheriff and see if they're interested in pursuing some of that.
They have a
To help.
security person that they hired. Perhaps that person could do that.
That security person for LIPA has absolutely no authority to do anything. He can't write a ticket. He can't even tell them to get off the property, because if they're an LIPA member, legally they're allowed on the property. It's just what they're doing on the property is the problem. So that's where the police could step in and say, you know, this is a rule saying that golf carts are walking only and you're not allowed to have these motorized vehicles, that kind of stuff. So I told them that I'd bring it up to the council and see if there's any way that we can talk to the sheriff to get some help out of that stuff too. But they're, like I said, they're putting some signs together, try to put signs up and say golf carts and walking only. No idea if that's gonna do any good in that, so. But they put up a couple of trees and block stuff and things like that, but they just end up driving around it or over it and that kind of stuff too, but.
See,
I told
that's
the
not
LIPA
law,
bring it
that's
up.
just organizational. And that's where I think you got the problem. You're putting the police or the sheriff officer on the spot, because he could say something, but he can't, I don't think he could enforce it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because
That's why I said
of
I'd
it
bring it up
being
here,
a, you know, the organization, the LIPA association, not a law.
Where are they talking about it? Like south,
Outlet
like,
A,
what's that?
outlet A.
Yeah, that's the major area.
One's all on A.
Outlet A is the one that runs to the south side of Castle.
It goes to the woods all the way to, like Lincoln Park.
Lincoln. Mhm.
You can take a side by through there.
Where they're coming, I believe,
Yeah,
is
they're my golf cart.
there's a, they got a 2-track off of Queensway that goes through there over private property, and then they're coming out through Outlet A. So George talked to me about putting up fencing and signage through there to deter it. You know, and
That's not us.
it's not us, no, that's something they're doing.
Yeah, if they're crossing private property, the property owner could call the sheriff's department and say, hey, they've been coming across. Kind of watch for it.
And
Yeah.
I think, and I might be wrong, but if the association board voted and posted rules in those sites, and then someone is violating those rules, that's the only time someone could call and make a complaint where they could be potentially trespassed. That's what they had to do in the parks, the waterfront parks, in terms of.
I agree with you, except on the property owners. If they're cut through the property
Yeah.
owner's property.
Well, that's entirely different. I mean, the LIPOA property specifically also.
What about noise ordinance or something like that? Because there's a lot of people doing it at night, what's really loud. They've had lights on their 4x4s. Again, I told them, like, you almost have to have somebody there.
Yeah, it'd be a
See it
sheriff.
happen before you be able to do anything, but I was just real curious to see if we could have the sheriff approach it.
My 2 cents is that's not what we're paying the sheriff's department for. That's not what we approved. Keep spending the money on.
Oh, I thought it
The
was
sheriff's department
What?
on our dime is out here to watch the speeding, and traffic, the public. not private property or private organizations. They need to make their own deal. That's my opinion.
And I agree. We
I don't
have
disagree
quite a
with you
bit
there.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
Did
it's
they ever
private
catch that?
property in the sense, but, you know.
We've already got more than that deputy can possibly handle anyway.
Did they ever catch that gal that they had the picture of her on the, that did the golf cart and the kicking in the door?
Nope.
Because boy, that was a good picture of her too. You would have thought that somebody would have said something.
I had enough battery yet.
Okay. Any other public comment? Council comments? Anything?
If it can I get some direction of what we can say and cannot say at the LIPOA meeting? Because that's the resolution we made. We would not talk in public about anything that wasn't agreed upon by the board. So I don't want to overstep being just a citizen by saying,
I think that was based on the number of us that were at a meeting too, wasn't it? You know, if you're there, and you're the only council member there, my understanding, you can say anything you want. You're not speaking for the council.
okay,
But if the majority of this council is at that meeting, then we have to watch what we say, because we've got a quorum.
Charlie, I won't be there. So. No, I'm just saying for the number of
He's
people.
warning
you're
us,
looking
huh?
at.
no,
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, I can explain some of these spots of where, how much it's gonna cost them. And how to explain it, and try to get it down to the cost per month. But I would almost imagine that the most of the people that are gonna be at that meeting are people that are members of LIPOA, which means they probably got a boat and they're on the water. They probably, or getting there. To them, they're worried about the water. They're probably Ivory Soap voting yes for it. Because they want to have that lake functionable, or their property's not worth poodle down the road.
As I understand it, if there's 4 of us there,
What?
you're limited on what you can say.
Right.
Because of the quorum. But if there's only 3 of us there, I think all 3 you can pretty much say whatever you want. Because you're speaking as an individual, not as a member of this council.
But
That's
you're
not-
talking about giving them the information
Right,
that we've agreed upon that
Right.
has to go out. You're talking about how much the millage is and how
Right.
much it would really cost them and
right.
all that stuff. Yeah, I think that's all fair.
I think it'd be a good time to hand out schedules when we're gonna have these meetings, so
Yes.
like, we don't wanna steal the show of that like POA meeting.
Right.
Come to one of these if you have questions, don't believe some of the rumors
Yeah.
you've heard,
Yeah,
because I've heard the rumors.
The,
Just
the-
ridiculous.
the plan that I have, assuming we can get the meeting schedule finalized tonight, is the one pager backgrounder is done. Have it as a 2-sided document for that meeting.
good,
That side and then the meeting side on the other.
cool.
Well,
That
one of
would
the
be
things
excellent.
that came up at the
I like
picnic, and it was one of the ladies said, well, I don't know why we're putting all this money into a walk path and everything around. And I said, hey, there's a good reason that we're putting some into it, is because we can get a matching grant. And so they didn't realize that there was a grant coming with that as such. Now,
Right.
George never said anything about that, so, that's something that I think we gotta correct.
Right.
Then also bringing up the topic of the police protection, and, okay, take a look and see what's going on. I mean, we're doing some good things. Even though one of your people is not in favor of some of those people getting tickets because they're friends of his. And so they're speeding, they're driving drunk. They deserve to get a ticket. And, after they gave out 200 warnings to begin with. And they don't see those counts that we see. So I think that's stuff that we can bring out in that aspect.
Okay.
So
Sounds
should
good.
we take see who's going to the meeting, so you know if you have more than, 4 or more people. What you can say.
1, 2, 3, no,
Okay, you guys aren't,
I'm out of town.
okay,
I may not, I don't know.
okay. Charlie, so it sounds like Charlie, you can,
I was
you're
thinking
kind
about
of,
it, but-
pardon?
I was thinking about it.
Yeah,
no,
but that's
don't
2.
have to.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
two's
true.
good, because you get it, you're the young person, remember, you're our token, so we need you there. It's
I
like,
don't want to say nothing.
yeah,
You're
instead of a
okay.
token woman, it's a token young man, you know?
You're the token.
Yeah.
He'll take it, he'll take it. He knows some hour.
Too, and come in.
He's got broad shoulders. He'll take it.
Yeah. Thank you, Brett.
Okay. Announcements.
Planning Commission next Tuesday. Close up, see for Labor Day. And 4 people signed up to run for council for 4 seats. We're all 4 incumbents.
Well, it's perfect.
Let me ask you, we don't have to have this in the meeting that, because we're doing kind of a form, we're agreeing to the dates.
All you're giving me is schedules.
Okay, so it doesn't have, I just want to make sure, so we're not doing anything, you
It'll be
know.
no different than if I sent you an email doodle, fill out the doodle and get it back to me.
Sitting in the same room all.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
no, that's fine.
That's it. Okay, we now need a motion to go because we received a legal opinion. So we need to go into closed session, need a motion for that to happen.
Make motion to go into closed session.
Motion made by Keel to go into closed session. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Shannon.